David, thank you so much for joining me in the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Johnny. Good to be here.
For those who don't know who you are, could you please do an introduction to yourself?
I can. I'm David Hatt, owner of MTN Coaching. It's an online fitness and lifestyle coaching company. We've been around for coming up for 5 years next year. I think next October is the 5th anniversary. I've been a coach for the last 10 years. It's the only job I've had as an adult minus working in IKEA. And that's a brief synopsis.
So, because when I messaged you, I was like, I want to get you in the podcast. For those who don't know, the only reason I've got David into this episode is so I can put in all the images and videos of me in amazing shape from doing his programs. That's really it, because it fits in now.
Yeah.
But when I messaged you, I was like, oh yeah, I want to get, like my personal trainer on. And then you gave me a different term. Because you're so much more than a personal trainer.
Did that actually connect you?
Yeah. I couldn't think what it was though.
It was probably just coach, no? Online coach.
Maybe.
I think personal trainer to me was when I was personal training to me is in person. Online or coaching to me, there's a difference. I feel like there's a difference between somebody that personal trains you, you're showing up for the hour, they're going to put you through a workout and then go home. Online coach to me is someone that's actually coaching you through various aspects of mindset, training, nutrition, lifestyle. So it's maybe me being a bit of an arse, but...
Yeah, any personal trainers listening to this are absolutely now haters.
I'm not just a PT.
So, going more deep into the coach side of things, because you mentioned things like lifestyle, mental, mindset. That's it. Sorry, mindset, and obviously the physical well-being.
Yeah.
Why does that stuff matter in your world?
I think a number of reasons. Like the company is literally called MTN based on mindset, training, nutrition. It's the three pillars that. You need all three of them to connect in order to make physical changes, but the physical changes don't necessarily come without any of the mental changes, and if they do, they don't last. Because we've seen it time and time again. We've seen so many clients come in and they nail their training and nutrition. They don't necessarily work on themselves from a mindset or a personal development standpoint, and then 3, 4, 5 months later, they're like, I need your help again. Whereas I think if you can really nail the mindset aspect of things alongside training and nutrition, you don't necessarily just get the results, but you're able to keep them as well.
Not that we were poo-pooing personal trainers and stuff, but I'm guessing in the industry, does that mean you think there's a lack of people covering all bases?
Yeah, but I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, providing that you vocalize that that's what you do. Like, there's nothing wrong with just being a personal trainer, because I've done it for 4 or 5 years. You'd show up, I'd put you through a session, I'd maybe do a spin class now and then as well, and that was it. I wouldn't speak to you, I wouldn't really have any communication. I'd maybe briefly ask you what you ate that day, and that was kind of it. Whereas a lot of people nowadays, they become a personal trainer and automatically they think, oh, actually I need to do all these other things. But I think providing that you differentiate those things, I don't think there's anything wrong with just being a personal trainer. I think actually Scotland and the UK needs more people that can showcase how to train, show you how to train effectively, properly, with enough intensity. You don't need to be a coach straight away. I think coaching's a harder skill that takes more time, and I think it's a natural progression. A lot of people that start off just training people in person, or they're just putting you through a session, it sort of naturally evolves into, actually, do you know what, none of my clients are getting results. Do I maybe need to look into other aspects? Like, after they leave the gym, do I need to look at their steps? Do I need to look at their sleep? Do I need to look at their stress levels? Do I need to look at actually, like, how do they feel about themselves, confidence, whatever else? So I think it comes from doing those things that actually leads to not just getting results, but actually keeping them, or at least building upon them.
Is it almost like, when someone looks at a natural career progression in any sort of career in the fitness industry, do you visualize it as it's personal trainer, coach,
I would say
and then
so.
Maybe they can niche and special down in something else? Is that?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it probably starts off in the fitness space. You've probably got a fitness instructor, which is spin classes and Zumba, and I'm lucky I've never taught Zumba in my life, but you probably start there, and then I'd say it naturally progresses into teaching people one-on-one. You could then maybe look at group coaching, like group in-person coaching, and then online coaching. I feel like it used to be a progression, but you do get some people now that are just starting off their career in fitness that are going straight to be an online coach. And I'm not necessarily a big fan of that. I think you need to sort of earn your stripes. I think you need to have worked in the in-person one-to-one environment to really get good at your job. Like, even, I can't remember if you maybe sent me much form videos in the past, but maybe if you didn't, plenty of other clients have, and I don't think I would have been able to correct them as efficiently and as well as I could, even through WhatsApp or online, if I didn't have that sort of in-person element for at least, 2 or 3 years.
I guess with a lot of things you said there, not to go down a cynical line, like lots of problems can arise for customers, clients. I mean, I work in marketing, right? So I see people get burnt all the time from agencies or individuals who watch a couple of YouTube videos and they're like, I can grow your business by 1 million. And it's like, you've not even helped a business get to 1,000. So
same in fitness.
So I assume like there's a lot of fuck ups happening right now.
100%. Like I say this all the time, and again, I don't say this to be an arse, but personal trainers, like it's not necessarily a super intelligent person's job. It's like the people that become PTs are usually failed footballers, people that go to do PE teaching and don't like it. That's the two most popular like avatars if I look at personal trainers. But there's obviously outliers, and there's people that maybe have a little bit more drive. They're maybe a little bit more into business as well. And I think if you can combine the business aspect of things with the fitness side, that's where you can sort of make yourself stand out. And that's probably where I feel I've excelled. I always knew I was never just going to be like a PT. I was like, I'll be a personal trainer right now because I thought it was a really good career path at the age of 19, 20. But you slowly kind of go, do you know what? I think I've got more in me. I think I can pursue a little bit more in this space. And a lot of people don't, and that's completely fine. I just knew for me, like there was a lot more that I wanted to kind of pursue.
Give me a better understanding on the industry and your journey. Let's go back to when you were just a PT.
So coaching for 10 years, the first 4 years I worked in a commercial gym, Exercise for Less, which is basically a JID gyms now. And that was great. Like I was, I wore the uniform in there and I took some spin classes and, you work the reception now and then. It was very much like a job. So I'd done that for maybe a year and then I became a fully self-employed coach thereafter. So I was self-employed for 3 years and at the age of 21, like nobody's got a clue how to run a business. So it was a bit of a mess, but I slowly figured things out. And then I got busy. I was using social media from the get-go, to be fair, which actually in the fitness space, there wasn't that many people posting fitness content 11 years ago in Glasgow. Don't get me wrong, worldwide, of course, but in, more localized, there certainly wasn't much. So,
well, there's the classic, it's better now with the growth of personal brands and all those kind of things. But back then, I'd imagine it was fairly ruthless. Tall poppy syndrome, someone standing out, people just come in and probably had opinions on what you were doing.
But also what I was posting was hilarious. Like I'd just I shared it last week on social media, but some of my first posts, because I just hit 3,000 posts I just hit. So I found my very first one and it was me standing with a six pack holding a Tupperware. And it's just the most cringeworthy photo. But equally back then, I definitely got, the piss taken right out of me. But very slowly, or maybe not even slowly, very quickly, the people taking the piss became clients. Like all my best mates in school tore right into me, and then almost all of them have paid me for some form of fitness service across the last 10 years. So I think things get normalized quite quickly. Maybe not quick enough, but once they've made fun of your first video, your first image, your first post, by about 8, 9, 10, it probably gets a bit boring for them as well. I also take the piss out myself probably more than anyone else, so it's not something that really ever got to me. So that was kind of 4 years. I grew fairly quickly. I'm not going to say I was well known, but in Renfrew, Glasgow, where I was from, if you were looking for a coach, I was going to be one of the top people then. And then I thought I was a big dog and I moved to Dubai for a year, and that was a mental year. And is that when you started the online coaching? Yeah, well, it wasn't even starting to build. I had 4 clients. 2 of them were from the UAE and they were paying me a insane amount of money. That I used to go to their apartment gyms and I was their bitch, for better terms. Whenever they wanted me to train them, I'd be like, yeah, I'd show up because they were paying me so much money. So I didn't need a huge amount of clients in a sense, but I was starting to get a stage where I was like, I want to grow something now. So I pitched all of my old clients back home and I says, look, I'm going to start this online coaching thing. This is the price. It's super cheap. But I want you guys to be the first clients that work with me. What was the first price for your first online program? £75 for 6 weeks, and the winner of the best transformation get £500. So that's the first time I'd done a monetary challenge, and obviously that's grown into now £10,000 worth of prizes and giving away holidays and whatever else. But that was the first time I'd given away a cash prize. So I think I got 30 people. So I gave away about a fifth of what I'd earned type thing, but I actually got some good results. It was the first time I was like, actually I got some fucking good results here. This can grow. And then that just built momentum, and then I was like, oh, I feel I'm back. So yeah, the last 6 months in Dubai it really took off. I had 30 people, and then it was 50, and then it was 70, and then I think the biggest intake I done was like 110, and then that's when I moved back home. Hired the first 2 ever coaches that worked for me. They just worked under my personal brand name. It was just David Hatt Training or whatever it was, and then after a year of doing that, I was like, I don't think I can hire more coaches just under my name. So I was like, I need a company. I need to make this. And that's when I was like, I'm going to start a limited company. And I thought this was going to be this amazing big thing. I was like, I'm incorporated. And it made no difference. But yeah, launched MTN. And again, do you know what? Like, there's been some road bumps. There's been some coaches that have come and gone. But on the most part, the last 4.5, 5 years have been phenomenal. Like, it's been a very good trajectory, like, genuinely.
Well, so I want to dive into that a little bit. Firstly, I do need to flag, I never knew MTN stood for
mindset.
I just thought it was like mountain.
Oh
totally.
My God, everyone fucking thinks this.
Is the logo not a mountain?
The logo, if you look at it, is an M, a T and an N, but it's abstract. But everyone thinks it's mountain coaching.
Yeah.
And it's even worse because we've got a program called the 12-week peak, which has connotations of fucking hill climbing.
Totally, yeah. I'm just saying from a brand's perspective.
So many
you've made
people,
it confusing.
And there's another, like, our logo is like a lot of other logos, that sort of M shape. There's a brand called Monterain it's just a clothing brand. They sell it in like Foot Asylum and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The young whippersnappers with it. But it's almost like an identical logo. And I was like, they copied us. And I looked and I was like, they incorporated themselves a year earlier. But yeah, mindset, training, nutrition. But we definitely need to make that a little bit clearer because a lot of people think it's like a mountain.
I've been
which
training
doesn't
with
really
you.
have a.
I've been using your programs for about 3-4 years now, and I've never known that. And I usually think I've got an eye for those kind of things, and we talk.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is all revelations.
I do reference, like, I'll say mindset, training, nutrition.
Yeah,
a
no,
lot.
I just assume that's the pillars of
But
feeling.
I'll show you the
well-being.
logo after this when we go for some dinner, and you'll see that it's an M, a T, and an N.
Well, that's why I was feeling my pockets. I was going to go looking for it. It's the Mandela effect.
Yeah,
where you think something looks like something, but then when it's made clear, you're like, I've been wrong this whole time.
When you see it, you'll be, okay, that makes sense.
That does make sense.
Yeah, that's funny.
Back into, because it's interesting, right? And in any industry, you've obviously got outliers, not to big you up too much, but that entrepreneurship business side and mindset, of course, I'm sure there's people are happy to just stay being a PT or just being a coach. But whether it's the culture, whether it's the world we live in now, where everyone wants to build something and not work for other people, a lot of people think they've got it or want to get it further. So with how you built the business and you started building a model, because I know we spoke last year as well, and you said one of the key things you wanted to work on is leadership.
Yeah.
Has it all come from just doing the thing? Just building a business and learning as you go and figuring it out? Has there been specific things you've used to learn to speed up your growth? What's that whole journey been?
Yeah, largely what you said there, doing the thing. And I think it's under... So many people look for a course, a book, a mentor, and I think all those things are valuable, and I've used all 3 of those things. But I've been doing this 10 years. I've made 10 years worth of mistakes. I've learned from 10 years worth of mistakes. So many people get into this business fitness space and they're like, I'm just going to get a mentor and I'm going to accelerate to where you're at right now. And I was like, I think you'll accelerate, but there's nothing more useful than fucking up enough. Excuse my language, but there's nothing more useful than making that many mistakes.
Well, so what's been your 3 biggest fuck ups? Let's have fun here.
Biggest
fuck
ups. Oh, that's tough.
Please feel free to be as honest as possible. Because the thing is as well, it's right, people are scared to make mistakes.
Yeah.
I think hearing from someone like yourself, knowing how maybe bad it got, probably makes people feel better.
I think so. One of the biggest, it's strange because they're all bittersweet because they're not really mistakes because I've gained so much from them. But one thing that's not been working with what became my best mates. So the coaches that I hired very quickly, we spend every day together. They then become your best mates. And then when you're trying to lead a team of 4 of your best pals, that's been a learning experience. Like, and I know for certain now with the coaches that we continue to hire and we want to build the team more and more and more, that's somewhere that I'm going to have that sort of boundary. There's, nights out and holidays that I won't go on with that group, with, the coaches, and there's certain things that I'll do just with my friends type thing. So I think that sort of barrier was a lesson to learn from.
Was that because you'd kind of tell them to do things, or you felt awkward telling them to do things, and they maybe don't listen because you're their mate, you're their pal?
Totally, and it was only maybe towards the last year or so of them working within the brand, and there was never any sort of, resentment or anything like that, but there was always that, gonna have to ask them to do this, but I also want to ask if they want to go for a pint tonight, or I want to ask if they want to. So there was always that. So as much as I say that was a mistake, I also had the best, for the first 3 years of my coaching career, business, it was working with 3 or 4 of my total best mates. It was incredible as well, but it was something that moving forward, I'm like, okay, I won't do that again. That was number 1. Number 2 is actually having and this is the most boring advice ever, but having a good accountant from day one. I've worked with numerous accountants. Some of them have been really good, some of them have not been so good, and actually getting your accounts together from the start, because I only feel, I've had a business for 9 years, and this is the first year that I feel organised with my accounts, which is mental. Being hit with insane tax bills once or twice that I just didn't expect, and moving forward, I know now I know what every bill is. I know what every VAT bill is. I know what every corporation tax is going to be 3-6 months ahead of it. Yeah. That's been crucial, and that took me again literally 9 years of making mistakes or not learning from those mistakes to go, do you know what? Get a grip, find someone good. And I've got an accountant right now who's phenomenal, and he's expensive, but he certainly, I would presume, he saves me a lot of money.
Sure, yeah.
Those were the 2 biggest standout ones, and you need to come back to me for the third one because I can't think of anything right now.
You mentioned you've got strong opinions about things in the fitness space. yeah, well, that's what I figured. In the fitness space, where's that kind of kicking about right now?
Do you know what? I think the fitness space is in the best place it's ever been. I think it's there's a lot more education. There's always bad, with every industry, marketing, sales, whatever else. There's always a lot of bad, but I actually think the fitness industry's in a relatively good space right now. What annoys me in the fitness space right now, one of the things I mentioned at the start of this was coaches, being straight out of Personal Training Academy, the 6-week cereal box course that you do, and then offering the world with online coaching and charging an exuberant amount of money. Again, that takes time to build that up. For our coaching services, we charge a little bit more than the average person, but we deliver a lot more than the average coach. And I think we've been around a lot longer than the average coach. So it's warranted in my eyes. I think a lot of people come into the industry, they do a business course instead of learning how to do fitness, in a sense. And most business courses will say, charge as much as you can get away with, which I think is a great piece of advice if you've got the service to back it up. And I don't think there's that many coaches that have an exceptional service. I really don't rate loads and loads of coaches from a service standpoint. There's a lot of good people that can coach you how to do certain movements and whatever else. But when it comes to really delivering a solid service to clients, I don't think anyone's doing that well. Not anyone, actually, I take that back. I don't think there's that many people doing it well.
So what are the big problems you see? How can they solve that?
Learning how to communicate. Coaching is just communication. If you look at the best coaches, they're often the best communicators, whether that's speed of responses, whether it's the amount of times that you're reaching out to someone. It's a beat that so many coaches miss. One of our core values is unrivaled accountability, and it's, to me, that is holding someone accountable more than any other coach ever has. So it's consistent 3 to 5 touch points per week, if the person requires or asks for that type thing, or would benefit from that. And I think that's where a lot of coaches go wrong. Their coaching style is, here's your workout, here's your nutrition, enjoy. Whereas for us, when we look at our premium coaching service, it's a case of we will message you, we will phone you, we will meet you for a coffee, as much or as little as you need until you get that sort of desired result. Nice. So I think that's a big thing. The accountability and the communication is where a lot of people go wrong. And generally, do you know what? It might sound a bit cliche, but actually caring. So many people in the coaching space, they just see it as a business. They don't see it as having the ability to really change someone's lives. And we've seen so many people's lives completely transform. You were at the ball this year. Yeah. People like Jadine, who, they were 120 odd kilo and they're down to 8. They've lost 40, 45 kilo, completely turned their life around. So it's not really just fitness that we've had an impact on. We've seen people leave damaging relationships. We've seen people progress in their career a lot more. We've seen people grow their own businesses. We've seen people join the fitness industry as well off the back of it as well. So for me, the fitness side and having a six pack and losing some fat's amazing. I love it. It's a huge part of how we market our business. But yeah, I think for me, like actually caring about our clients enough to see other areas of their life improve's been like such a cool thing. Like I love that aspect of the job.
With the stage the new business is at, I'd say it's not a new business. It's just continually evolved, right? So you were doing personal training. Like you said, we've covered that you've brought friends on. Online coaching became a thing. And now we have, I guess we could call them the 3 key online coaching programs of MTN. Yeah. Which I know this bit, so I can cover. We've got the Fat Loss Project, the Growth Project, and the 12-week peak. Yeah. So those are the cornerstones for the business. Was that a model you saw other people doing? Was it just a strategy you came up with? How did they evolve? And you can let people know what they are. You can sell them in a little because they're very good. Yeah. So we've got a number of ways of selling coaching. They have changed though a little bit. So we've got our premium coaching, which is working directly with our coaches. So that's more individualized. It's very hands-on. It's tailored to you. Like it's bespoke. Like that's where you get the unrivaled accountability. That's where your coach is in touch as much as you desire. And that's where you're growing the headcount of the business, right? Yeah. Is it fair to say you're bringing in 2 new people a year? Is that? We're going to try and bring on 3 new coaches every 6 months. Okay, wow. So big growth plans. We're going to try and do that. Developing a team's been the biggest struggle because it's so new to me, like managing other people. Like I've just been used to managing myself for like 7 years, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to try and build a team. So that's been tough. So yeah, the goal with premium coaching is to have 10, 15, 20 coaches all work with 30 to 50 bespoke premium, high paying clients. And then the reason that we developed the other products and services was to have a lower offering so that it's very accessible to anyone. So we will get into low offers now, but just the curiosity because like you said, like leadership is something new you're having to learn. Growing a team is something new you're having to learn. You're planning on bringing 6 people in a year. How do you plan to scale for that, prepare for that? What are you doing within the business and within yourself for that? This is a strange approach or a strange mindset to go into it, and I'll maybe change it in the next little while. But I'm not amazing at hiring yet because I've hired 15 people, so I don't have that skill. So for me, the reason that I'm looking to bring on 3 people every 6 months is to see what worked, what didn't work, because I know that all 6 of those people won't. I don't know this, but they might not stay for a long period. So for me, the kind of it's not even mass hiring, but for me, it's, accelerating the hiring process is to learn how to interview, learn how to hire, learn how to train. Because even the last sort of round of people that we hired, I think I interviewed 25 people in 1 week, and I knew 20 of them I wasn't going to bring on board, which sounds terrible. Apologies if you're listening to this, but I knew pretty much like 18 to 20, I was like, I'm interviewing these people to see what I like and what I don't like, how to communicate with them, how to ask good questions. So it was kind of like a learning experience. So let's talk through the online aspect, but then after that, I want to know what the big goals, the big plans for MTN are as well. Yeah, this has all changed now, so this is maybe I'm just gonna ruin all the thoughts that you had on them. No, this is good. The business model changes every 6 months, to be honest, because it's a new business in my eyes. I've still not found what really works. So how important do you think that constant evolution is, though? Part of it's me chasing shiny objects, and part of it's me figuring out what's actually really going to work. Fat Loss Project was great. We had like 1,500 people sign up to that over 3 years, but it sort of ran its course, and the 12-week peak sort of became our Fat Loss Project. It became the all singing, all dancing, it does everything program. So we're developing something that's 6 weeks, and it's more of like an intro to fat loss, an intro to getting in shape, which I think is going to replace the Fat Loss Project. So we've got a 6-week sort of DIY program. Then we've got the 12-week peak, which is 12-week true body transformation program. That's where we have prizes. It's where we have a huge photo shoot. It's where we have a black tie ball. It's our sort of, do you know what more people probably know is for the 12-week peak than anything else now? And then we've got our growth project, which is now a 16-week program, which runs
4 months prior to the 12-week peak to prep you for the 12-week peak. So it's actually, we've created a 7 months client journey for that.
And obviously the 12-week peak, it's not just an online program, right? Not to go too into the advertising promotion of it, but weekend events, it's all about community, it's bringing people together. And the photo shoot, when I talk to people about it, there's a photo shoot at the end for anyone listening or watching who doesn't know. And that gives you something to work towards.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to mess up because you want to look good for the photos.
Yeah.
Like, it's easy if there's no end
Nailed it.
challenge or representation of the work you put in.
The 12-week peak sort of became, people when they get to 30 do a marathon, and then they're like, I'm going to do High Rocks. And then they do a Tough Mudder, or they do something. People need a fitness challenge, and the 12-week peaks kind of became that. So as much as it's an online coaching program, a lot of people view it as their sort of yearly challenge. Like, I've had so many people reach out to be like, it's my 30th next year, I'm going to do this for my 30th. It's my wedding, it's going to be what I do before my wedding. So it's been amazing for that. It's a sort of, personal challenge that some people do every year. We've got people that are going to come back year and year and year again, which, is maybe not what I'd advise to everyone to do, like diet like that every single year. But do you know what? Some people just love it. And like you said, it's not just a nutrition and training plan. There's a huge element of community. There's meetups every single weekend. There's even going to be midweek meetups this time round. I'm thinking about doing a speed dating thing. Like, it's growing in our arms and legs. We've got some phenomenal sponsors this year coming, actually, like some huge names in
Any
the alcohol
menswear
space.
Brands?
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. So we've got it's grown arms and legs, and there's bigger brands that want to collaborate with us on it now, because like last year was 486 people. We've already got 180 people signed up for the early bird already. It doesn't launch till next March, so you'll be hard pushed to find anyone in the UK fitness space that's sold 180 spaces to a program that doesn't start till 3 months away.
At what point does growing the 12-week peak not become problematic, but at a certain point when things get so big, they lose their soul a little bit, or that sense of community? Is that something you're concerned about?
100%.
I'm curious, because community matters to you. People
Totally
matter to you. And
the 12-week,
you respond to every single message you get. And at what point does that become...
You're right, and this is going to be the first year that I don't directly coach clients throughout it. And this is the first year that I'm just going to build it. I'm going to run it. I'm going to run the events, and I'm going to be customer support for anyone that's, needing a little bit more. That's my goal this year. But yeah, you're totally right. I think I think the 500 to 600 mark is probably that. And until we reach 500, which is a goal of mine, then we'll keep pushing for that. And then, like you said, like I said, I can run it again in the UK or in Glasgow. I could run it in different time frames. I can do 2 or 3 of them a year. It's probably not what I'll do. A big pull of the 12-week peak is the fact that you can only do it once per year.
I'm sure there probably has been clones or duplicates, right? Because you can go to people, and you and I know the back work that you have to do into the learnings you've had from running the photo shoots, the learnings you've had from experimenting with different WhatsApp groups, like people at different stages, or male and female, or separate. Mm-hmm. Have you seen people try and duplicate it? We were talking about people looking for mentors earlier. Have people come in maybe looking for a mentor, but just trying to pick your brain to find out how you run it? And what do you think stops their because like you said, you've got 180 people signed up. What stopped people duplicating it? Where's the extra value, minus your knowledge, or maybe that is like the big key thing here, that puts it ahead of everyone else?
So yeah, there's been people buy it. There's been coaches buy the 12-week peak with their, son's email address or their mum's email address just to see what it's like and to be a part of it. So we've had that numerous times. I actually just heard about one today. That's why that's on my mind. So yeah, a lot of people have copied it. I'm not too precious about copying it. It's a fat loss program. If I look at the bare bones of it, you can copy that all day, but there's so many things like it. There's so many challenges that you sign up to, and if you get the best result, you'll win £1,000, or you'll win a holiday to Ibiza. There's loads of things, and I took inspiration from someone else. Like, it's not all original.
Steal like an artist.
Yeah, what's original is all of the pieces that I've put together for it. So it's the weekend meetups, it's the group of other coaches, it's the fitness photo shoot with 350 people, it's all of the media that we've got involved, it's the black tie ball, it's the prizes, it's the giveaways, it's the holidays, it's the hotels. It's all that stuff that I think differentiates it. And lastly, what anyone that's tried to copy it's not done is they don't care about it. They're doing it to try and make money. I'm doing it because I genuinely like love it. Like I love standing when it's the photo shoot and just looking about being like, this is incredible. I love when it's the black tie ball, standing up there, speaking to 250, 350 people and just seeing how buzzing people were to do a fat loss program. Like it blows my mind, like how much it's changed people's lives, as cliche as that is. Truly, like that's what motivates me. And there's loads of coaches that I feel like if you're buying a program just to try and copy it, you don't have that same level of care. You don't have that same level of, you just don't care about it. And I really do. Like I really love it. And I think that helps.
I like that a lot. That's probably a really good point. The amount of people who try and just duplicate something or copycat. There's no love behind it. There's no passion. They didn't build it. It's just maybe in their eyes, quick money maker.
And you could find lots of decent, like really good coaches, and I could give them all of the resources. I could give them my landing pages. I could give them our email sequences. I could let them use my email marketer. We could do their social media for them, and they would go to run it, and it would fall to pieces because they're not up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. every day answering WhatsApps. They don't make sure the last thing they do before they go to bed is clear every message that they've got. They don't jump on phone calls every 15 minutes if they need to speak to people. They don't have that sort of... Part of it's an ego thing. Like for me, it's definitely an ego thing. I don't want people ever buying something that we do and going, that was a bit of shit. And it's happened this year. I created something this year that wasn't that great. And I literally messaged everyone saying, look, this isn't what I promised you. Here's money back, or here's money towards another program. And it's because it was an ego thing of me going, they're going to tell somebody that they've bought something from me and it was really shit. And it's, that burns me a lot. I hate if I've ever under-delivered. Even for you, like you're doing the 12-week peak this year, so you're going to come back, and for you don't need the same level of support as anyone else, but if you came back and it was a kind of half-arsed training plan, the training videos didn't work, I cancelled every second weekend event, that you intended to go to, you'd be like, it wasn't like this in 2022. And that's what drives me to make sure we do keep the community. And there is a big part of me, like the people that have done the 12-week peak before, those are the people that this year I'm going to be on the ball with to be like, is this good? Is it better? Is it the same? Like, is there anything we can do? And that's, I think, what's also separated me from a lot of coaches is my ability to just be like, are you enjoying this? Is it good? Like, can I change it? Can I make it better? And not enough people in business are willing to reach out to their customers and just ask for feedback.
So that circles nicely to what you said earlier, right? Communication.
Yeah. Ask them, like, are you getting results? Why not? Well, you're not really checking them with me. Okay, do you want me to phone you like on a Monday? That would be amazing. Okay, I'll do that.
Nice.
So like, I think having that level of, I also think like quick action. So like we send feedback forms quite regularly, like when we've got the feedback, actually changing stuff on it there and then. So we've got a lot of like really, like a lot of our programs are built from our clients. Like we survey everyone after the 12-week peak and ask like, what did you like? What didn't you like? What should we change for next year? Some of the ideas, all of the ideas from this year largely came from clients that done it last year. So like if we can help make their experience that little bit better, amazing, happy days.
Why do you think people are too scared to ask? They probably won't like what they hear.
100%. It's work as well, like gathering feedback. People, you need to incentivize people largely to get feedback off them. Like even with us, I'm like, you'll get a 50 quid voucher if you give us some feedback. But yeah, maybe because it's going to tell them to do more work. And maybe for me, I do it because I know that largely we're getting good feedback. So like that's maybe why a lot of people don't do it, because they know that they're going to get shitty feedback. For me, I'm like, I know that most people like it. But equally every time there's always a few people that are like, this could have went better. I'm like, amazing, thank you.
Well, so interesting. On that there, you said it's more motivating to message people for feedback when you know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
But I do think it's quite interesting for someone as established as you, who's been doing this for as long. It was interesting that when you said you didn't get the sign-ups to the program you were expecting, 36, you found it demotivating. And obviously you mentioned you'd like a month break, but did you find it hard to push past that demotivation?
Well, to put it into perspective, the same amount of work went into building this program as it does the 12-week peak, because I was like, this can be the next big thing. We're going to have this program. We're going to have the 12-week peak. We're going to have these things everywhere that people can do all year. So the same amount of work went into that as did with the 12-week peak. But on the first day of every year that we launch 12-week peak, we get between 80 and 120 sign-ups. So that's 80 to 120 people paying us a huge amount of money. It's phenomenal. Like, it's this sort of huge rush. 0 people signed up on day one of the launch of this. It's the first time ever I had to reach out to people to be like, I think this would really be good for you. Do you want to do it?
The bar was set. We talk about how the bar is set for your clients sometimes.
Yeah.
The bar for your products and
and it's even with
there.
Even with this year, like, the bar's high because I'll just look at what it did on day one last year and be like, right, that's what we need to do. And if it doesn't do that, I'll be like, okay, we need to work much harder. So yeah, it was tough. I felt really like that really actually got to me this year. But again, an amazing lesson to just say, stay in your lane, serve your market, stop trying to push into a different market that's not for you. And it's a great learning experience for me.
Well, so it's interesting because let's cover the M of MTN.
Mindset.
When you get knocked by things like that stag do, like this program, how long do they impact you, or how long do you let them impact you for? Is there a certain point where you give yourself a shake, or what do you do to kind of help your own mindset in those situations?
Yeah, I don't have this, a routine that I do. I'll be honest, when I feel bad about myself, I'll sleep way more than usual. I'll usually drink a little bit more than usual. I'll watch more shit on TV than usual. I won't work as much. I usually, I'll have days, sometimes weeks, where Kirsty hates it, where I lie in bed. Like, I'm super, super lazy, and I sit and feel sorry for myself. And sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's 3 weeks. The longest it's been's probably been like 3 months at one point. So yeah, sometimes it's just time. Sometimes it's time. Sometimes it's a few things do help. Cleaning my environment up, getting out of bed and just saying, no, get out of bed and go to work, go to Starbucks, go and get something done. That's one thing that usually will start to build that little bit of momentum. The second thing is getting outside and walking and just being in fresh air. And the third thing is putting something good in my ears, as in a podcast, not my fingers. So yeah, I think for me, changing my environment and being in a sort of regimented, clean environment, getting outside and walking, and then combining that usually with some form of personal development and a podcast. Those are the things that I'd say, if I'm in a bit of a rut, or I'm feeling a little bit of shit about myself, or I'm lacking confidence, those sort of start to build me back up. And then the last thing would be to get a big win in a business sense. So for me, it was doing the early bird in November and being like, actually, I'm back. I can sell things. I'm good at my job. I know what I'm doing. I just need to do it with the right product. So I went from largely selling nothing on day one to the Black Friday 12-week peak sold out in I think 58 minutes. So that made me go, even it sounds crazy though, that was 2 weeks ago. And I've been walking about with my head held higher and I feel much better. And that's not to say that the last program had me in a state of depression or anything, but it was certainly a few weeks of feeling a little bit shitty about myself. And then right now I'm on a bit of a high still because of that sort of win. So yeah, I'd say change your environment, get outside, get fresh air, put something positive in your ears, whether that's a podcast or an audiobook. And then lastly, just get a win, get a quick win, get something that's going to make you feel like you're back.
I like that. Yeah, I was obviously devastated when the 12-week peak sold out and I was on a flight.
you didn't even know.
It was an hour-long flight. I was emails in,
I can sort
landed,
you know
over.
That.
I always appreciate that. Well, that was 3 great things to potentially finish on. But I always like to end with, the one big question, which varies between, is there something you'd tell yourself 10 years ago? Or what I think I'm going to go for this time is, we spoke about mentors. And when I assume people do come to you and ask you questions all the time. They're trying to become a better personal trainer, a better coach. They're trying to build something similar to what you're doing.
Yeah.
What would you say? What do you find is the common thing they're missing?
I think having patience in the macro, but not patience in the micro. So if you know me, I am incredibly impatient. I am not a joy to be around if I'm in a queue, and I'm not a joy to be around when it's something related to business, because I want it to be quick from a day-to-day basis. I take action quick, but I'm very patient when it comes to realizing that my goals are going to get achieved, but they're a little bit further away. And that's something that took me a while to learn, because I think I had goals 5 years ago that I thought I would have completed like within a year 5 years ago, and it's now that I've got them, and I'm like, right, okay, it took 5 years, not 1 year. So now that I've achieved them, I'm like, right, okay, things do all come together, but it's probably going to take you a little bit longer than you think. For me, like, I'd say almost all my goals take 30% longer than I first planning them being. But I don't think that means you should adjust your goals. I think you should still set them as like, it's going to happen next year, and realize that, okay, it might happen in 18 months, not 12, or it might happen in 2 years, not 1. But still setting them with that short time frame so that you can work with that level of intensity and the sort of micro, the day to day. But in the back of your mind, there's a little bit of, but if it doesn't work out, like, it will still come at a later stage. So I'd say that.
Nice, I like that. Dude, for, again, anyone, if they wanted to find you, follow the mission, follow MTN, where should they go?
MTN's social media is just at MTN Coaching, not Mountain Coaching, MTN. And my personal social media is at dhat_MTN. You can find me there. And if you want to join my email list, it'll be on there.
Perfect. David, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.